Does your golf swing look like this? Well, don't be discouraged. Stay tuned for Modern Golf, featuring Dave Hill, one of America's fine young touring professionals, and Hal Scheidler, the man who believes everyone can break 80.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome once again to Modern Golf. My name is Hal Scheidler, and that's right. I do believe everyone can break 80, at least occasionally. That's the primary purpose of our show, to help you to build an image of a good golf swing in your own mind. We believe that the only reason so many people play so poorly is because they have no true image of what they're really trying to do. And we intend to help you along with that phase of it. We're speaking to you again today from the fabulous Indian Wells Country Club just outside Palm Desert, California. Working with us again, as usual, Mr. Dave Hill, one of America's fine young touring professionals. Howdy, Dave.
Hi, Hal. It's great to be here again.
Davey, we're going to do quite a bit of ultra slow motion today, and I know that you and I were talking in the clubhouse about it being not only helpful to the people watching the show, but being very helpful to you.
That's right, Hal. I've had an opportunity to look at some of the old stock, and I take it home and run it, and I can see where, when we first started, that I was very closed at the top of the swing. By that, the club face was shut, and we may explain that later in the show. And by seeing this, I could see that I could change it to square or open, and I have got it pretty much to square now, and I think that is one reason I'm playing better.
Fine, and we hope you continue to play better as you go along, Davey. And if we feel that these films make some little contribution to bettering your already fine golf game, well, then they'll be well worthwhile. We'd like for you folks to study the various phases of the swing, which we'll point up to you. And as I said, we will be using considerable ultra-slow motion, which gives you an opportunity to study the action of the hands, the knees, the feet, the elbows, in fact, the various component parts of the entire golf swing. Well, Davey, better get down to the practice tee.
We'll see you down there, Hal.
Good. And we'll be following right down after Dave in just 1 minute. Won't you come along?
Well, Hal, being home 2 weeks and not getting a chance to work on my pitching wedge, I think we might do some work with it, and I'll try to explain how I use it. And we play quite a few courses where the 80 and 90-yard wedge shot comes in handy. And we have to learn to hit them high and low and run them and stop them. Well, I'll demonstrate right now just the average 30, 40-yard wedge shot and what I try to do with it. Mainly is getting the feel down and then trusting it as you look at the golf ball. Never try to see where it's going too fast. And I have a great habit of looking up quick. If I can just go ahead and take the normal swing and stay here and trust that I have gauged the right distance, everything normally comes out pretty good. But under pressure, sometimes you have a habit of looking too quick, such as this. And you'll hit it short sometimes, and then you'll leave it long. And by looking too quick, you can stick the club in the ground behind the ball, such as this here. And then you get yourself a little 10-yard shot. Trying to hit at 30, and that always adds a few shots to the game and a little heat to the player. Now I'll try to keep it low, and in doing so, I just try to pull the arms over the ball in this fashion and move a little with it. Same shot, 30 yards, but low. There. That way the ball will stay 10, 12 feet in the air. If I want to hit it high, I move the hands back a little bit and then release a little faster here. This fashion. You can see where the hands broke under, where in the low shot the hands were back. The club head gets ahead in the high shot and you leave it in back on the low shot. And this is true with all clubs. We'll demonstrate a little low shot again, where you can see hands forward, club face, and then you just pull it here. Never releasing it. And again on the high shot, we set the hands back, we let the hands go and the club head go here. And there we are.
Boy, Hal, if I could hit a pitching wedge like that, I sure would save an awful lot of shots. But I have trouble determining just how hard to hit the ball for a determined distance.
Well, this is natural, Marcia, because the wedge is a finesse club, and it calls for an awful lot of practice. When you go out to practice with the pitching wedge, always have a target. Hit the first ball like 30 yards, then 50 yards, then 40 yards, then 60 yards, but always practice on every shot to a specific target. And remember this, you never hit the pitching wedge hard, or any short club, as a matter of fact. If you feel like you have to hit it hard, don't use it. Put it back in the sack and take out a 9-iron and hit it smooth and easy. And right now, Davy is over on the practice tee. Let's put his action with the wedge in slow motion and see if we can't point up a couple of things. Our ultra-slow motion dramatizes the firmness of the left hand and arm as they lead the club through the ball, never letting the club turn over until the ball is on its way. And remember that this is a very smooth and rhythmic motion, with the entire body in a comfortable, relaxed position. Only the left hand and arm are very strong. Even in the full swing with the wedge, there's a minimum body turn. At the top of the backswing, the club points almost straight up, and the finish is the same length. Practicing like this will help convey the finesse feel so necessary for maximum results with the short clubs. Hold the head position and swing the club. We dwell considerably on the necessity for some training for new players before they go on the course. Marcia Bennett, our 16-year-old student golfer, was practicing the other day, and I decided to get some shots to point up the progress which can be made with some competent advice. Marcia has never played a round of golf. However, I have worked with her occasionally for the past year, and believe me, she's been an outstanding student. You'll note she overswings occasionally and lets the club cross the line on the backswing. When she corrects this, she'll get a much smoother start from the top, her balance will improve, and the entire swing will fall into place. I do feel she has built a sound, basic swing. She has learned the absolute necessity of a strong left side and extends through the ball beautifully. Her left arm action is beyond reproach. On occasion, Marcia has some head problems. However, they're minor and they'll go away with experience. I constantly urge her to stand up to the ball, take full advantage of her good height. Now, I never have told Marcia to shift her weight forward and move to the left side. This is a completely natural reaction to the pulling motion with the left hand. Marcia still has 4 years of schooling to finish her formal education, and during this period should develop her golf game to the point she can fulfill her greatest desire, a chance to take a swing at the Ladies Professional Golf Tour. I have a feeling she just might make it. Let's look at Davy now and remember that the head is the anchor point. When it moves, the pendulum motion is destroyed. Keep the weight centered, stay relaxed, look at the ball, pull with the left arm, and you've got to be a better player. How would you play this bunker shot? Mind if we make a suggestion? Take a short swing, catch the ball first, keep the club head moving down, and you just saved a pop or two. There's no lip on this trap. The ball's setting up well, and it would be foolish to blast it. Proper club and shot selection is highly important when you're getting out of that bunker. Here's a different story. This ball is half buried, so a blast is a must. For this particular shot, there's a simple formula I believe you'll find quite effective. Plant the feet firmly, get the weight well back toward the heels, open the stance quite a bit. Lay the club face open and bring the club straight back to the outside. Swing through from the outside in and hit about 2 inches behind the ball. The club face will never actually touch the ball. You throw both sand and ball at the hole. Let's check it again. Weight well back, stance wide open, lay the club face open, and bring it to the outside. Hit about 2 inches behind the ball and keep the club face moving down into the sand. Never relax the hands and let the club dig in, or you may have to try it again. Keep the club moving, finish the shot. This view better spotlights the path of the club head through the hitting area. Watch the club head path from waist high on the downswing to waist high on the follow-through. Swinging from the outside in through this zone, the club head simply knifes through the sand and flares the ball out. Head position is extremely important here. You can't hit what you can't see, so look at the ball. Remember, there's very little point in looking at the green unless you've waited until the ball is gone. It will probably still be in the bunker. Keep it smooth, swing the club, finish the shot. Back once again to the pick shot. There's no lip on this trap. The ball is teed up. A 7-iron is a pretty good weapon from here. Play this shot just as you would any little run shot from the grass. The blade square, the hands are firm, ball first, then the sand. And be sure to strike down on the ball. This ball will run quite a way. You have excellent control of direction. Here's a like situation. This ball is just in the edge of the bunker, but up where you can get it on the club face. Trying to blast here would cost you a bunch. So go to the 7-iron, keep the hands firm and leading, and just pop it out on the green and let it run to the flag. Here we have another blast shot, but an entirely different approach should be taken. The ball doesn't have to get too high to clear the bunker, so you just work it over the fringe and run it to the hole. For this shot, the stance is just slightly open and the blade is reasonably square. The ball will take off running when it lands. Dave makes it look easy, but believe me, this is a tough shot. Move the head a fraction and you've had it. Let's check the action once more on the most used and most accepted formula for the bunker shot. Worry the feet through the sand until you have firm footing. Keep the weight well back, open the stance and lay the club face open. Bring the club straight back on the outside and strike the sand about 2 inches behind the ball, moving from the outside in across the ball. It really isn't too tough if you'll just practice. Perhaps this close-up will help your image of the impact area. Dave has drawn a line a couple of inches behind the ball, which is setting up nicely. He will strike the sand at this point, and I want you to note that the hole becomes deeper as it moves forward, proof again that you hit down at this shot too. From a tight lie, nothing has changed except the fact that you move the line back about an inch. It makes sense that since the ball is lower in the sand, the club face must go lower to achieve the same results. Strike about 3 inches behind this ball, keep the head still, and keep swinging. In answer to many requests, we wanted to take this opportunity to pass along some information to the young players around the country. We've had many requests for information how they could get on the professional tour, how they would get their shot at the PGA Tour. Well, it isn't too difficult, of course, if you're a good enough player. The first thing you do is you go to your local section of the PGA and get their endorsement. Once you have their endorsement and you make your application to the National PGA, and you will be permitted to attend a 2 weeks golf school in Florida. The conclusion of this 2 weeks is a 72-hole tournament, and your finish in that tournament will determine whether or not you are issued a player's card. Of course, there also is an element of financial responsibility. The Professional Golfers Association must be assured that you have adequate financing to carry you while you are on the tour. So there's the answer. Remember, there's always room at the top if you're a good enough swinger.
Well, today I have a 2-iron here, and I thought I'd hit some shots with it and try to explain just how I go at it. This is one of the toughest clubs in the bag to use for the average player. And if you just think of swinging the club head and not trying to force it, just go ahead and let the club head swing in this fashion. And it wouldn't be too much to ask if you just tried to hit the ball 140 a few times, learning to swing it. The ball won't get up very high, but as long as you can make solid contact, that's all you want to do with a long iron. The longer the swing sometimes, the harder it is to time the hit. Being a long shaft and all, you've got to learn to time the hit just right. Just take it away. Not very much effort, and you still get pretty good results. If you stand on the practice tee and do this for 10, 15 minutes a day or whenever you go out to practice, I think you'll find that the 2-iron and your 3 and 4-iron will be much easier to use. Now, if I want to hit a low 2-iron, with all low shots, move the hands forward. I open the stance a little bit so I can clear the left side to keep from hooking it, and use the left arm very strong through the shot. That fashion. Sort of a semi-block action, which is this here. I'm blocking it out so I don't turn it over to the left. If I had a weak left arm, I couldn't play this shot. And this is the biggest fault of most amateurs. They don't develop the left side. And the left side is the most important part of the golf game. If you haven't got a strong left side, be content to shoot 80s and 90s. I'll hit one more here and show you how Mother hits it. And she fans it now and then. But she learned to swing the club like this. And she can break 90. Thank you.
The third hole here at Indian Wells is spectacular, demanding a good tee shot in this narrow sloping fairway. The view is so intriguing it's difficult to keep your mind on the game. The fairway widens after you pass the hump of the mountain, which extends down from the right. Out of bounds is close on the left, and everything goes left away from the mountains, so a hook can be disastrous. Davy will again compete with himself, playing 2 balls, one conventionally, the second with one hand, as we continue to stress the necessity for developing the left side. He sets up for the right center of the fairway and will let it fade into the upslope. And how good can you hit it? Quail high, perfect direction, and out about 285 yards. He'll have a little 8-iron left. With one hand, same setup. Following the identical pattern of the first ball, but not quite so long. Just short of the cart path, in excellent position. With one hand, the 8-iron. Flying straight at the flag, lands short and stops immediately, and Davies left himself about a 30-footer. Again the 8-iron, and he's choked it up a little. I doubt if he knows that first ball is short. Another fine shot, right on line, and again Davy fails to get it up. No question, but he misjudged the distance here. Here's a disgusted young fella. He thought he stuck both balls stiff. The green is all in shadow, and from the fairway it just doesn't look as long as it plays. Both these putts are parallel with the mountain and will go to Dave's left. Good distance, but he didn't start it high enough. Has a little tap in for his par. About the same putt, will break left. And about the same results. The hole was well played, but we'll have to settle for a couple of 4s. That just about wraps up our golf lesson for today. We certainly hope that we've passed along a couple of points which will help you to reduce your golf scores. As you know, the primary purpose of our show is to help you to build an image of a good golf swing in your own mind. I think if you'll take some of the tips that you saw here today and remember them when you get out to the practice tee and work on one phase of your game at a time, I'm sure it'll help you very much. Davy, congratulations. Nice play on a real good hole. That little third hole play is pretty good, and to make 2 4s on it today, you're to be congratulated.
Thank you, Hal. It is a beautiful hole. The green slopes very well from right to left, and it's bunkered beautifully, and it's sort of an undulations in the green, and you got to play 2 good shots in there and make a pretty good putt if you're going to make a 3.
Well, the drive on the hole is very important, too, because the fairway does break very sharply to the left away from the mountain.
That's right, and you got out of bounds over there, so you try to keep the ball up on the right-hand side if possible.
Well, again, congratulations on the even pars, and maybe next week we'll knock in a birdie or 2.
Well, we can try. That's all we can say.
Good. I'll see you here next week.
You sure will, Hal. Thank you.
Okay, Dave will be back next week, so will I. Same time, same station. We hope you'll be right there to go along with us. In the meantime, this is Hal Scheidler reminding you we're coming your way from the beautiful Indian Wells Country Club at Palm Desert, California. And if you'll keep that head down and the left arm straight, believe me, you can break 80.